If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Randy Costa joining the show for the first time. He returns to action in Boston at the TD Garden. He's going to face Boston Salmon on October 18th, and there's no way that this fight isn't going to be a banger. Right, Randy? How are you?
Doing good, man. There's a 0% chance that this fight isn't going to be a banger, so I can't fucking wait.
It's going to be a great fight. And as soon as you heard the UFC was returning to Boston, you were all over this thing, making sure you would be a part of this thing. How excited are you to fight in Boston, about 45 minutes or so from where you live in the historic Garden?
Man, there really aren't any words. It's gonna be fucking insane. Perfect venue. It's gonna be insane. In my hometown, surrounded by all the people I love watching me fight, and sharing the card with five of my teammates. So it's gonna be a fucking insane night, and I'm so pumped to put on a show.
You made your UFC debut on very short notice against Brandon Davis at UFC 236 back in April. That was a super fun fight. You guys went at it, and it was a fight, at least in my opinion, where even in a loss, your stock rose quite a bit. What did you take away from that experience of your first UFC fight and your first UFC fight week in Atlanta?
So first things first is that Brandon beat me, and if I were to have to lose to someone, I'm happy to lose to an awesome guy. He showed nothing but respect before, during, and after the fight, and I cannot thank him enough for what he did for myself and Devin Carrier's family after the fight. I have so much respect for that kid. But my takeaways from that fight, man, I learned a lot. I didn't have much experience going into that. I pretty much tripled all of my cage time in that one fight. I learned a lot. I matured a lot in that fight. And I think I showed that, I didn't get in there prematurely. I got in there and I can hang and I can compete, and I'm going to be able to beat some of the best in the world, and I am one of the best in the world. And I'm going to show that on October 18th. That's the first step.
Did you carry a little bit of a chip on your shoulder? Like, obviously, being in New England, the whole region is behind all of its fighters, which I think is pretty fantastic. I think it's very unique of this area to have that kind of support. But, if you listen to different podcasts, you were jumping on Twitter, kind of jumping into that trolling pot. Everyone's like, oh, who's this guy with like 3 or 4 fights under his belt? Who does he think he is? Like, were you seeing any of those tweets? Were you hearing any of those rumblings of people not giving you much of a chance to do anything in that fight?
I'm a social media junkie. I love looking at Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. I saw every single thing that people were saying. They were counting me up before they even knew anything about my skill set, before they even saw me fight. I didn't let any of that bother me. All that's irrelevant. What was relevant is that I was the one that had to go in there and fight. I knew that I worked my ass off. I know that my training partners and my coaches and the people who I surround myself with have all the faith in the world in me. So I don't really care what those people have to say. And, I'm glad that I was able to, even with a loss, prove them wrong that I can hang. Because, I had Brandon hurt, pretty bad, pretty fucking fast. And I hit him with shots that, even Zabit didn't hit him with. So to be able to, be in there and show myself and represent myself in that way and put on a performance like that, win or lose, I think my stock definitely did rise in that fight.
I agree with that 100%. Now you get Boston Salmon in your hometown, and Boston's a super exciting fighter, much like yourself. He just had his UFC debut. Didn't go like he had planned. He got knocked out in just 25 seconds in that fight. It surprised a lot of people. I know I was surprised by that. From a stylistic, and I think a fair word is entertainment perspective, how do you like this matchup?
It's two people who aren't going to go out there, and we're not going to cuddle against the cage for 15 minutes. We're going to go out there, we're going to stand in the middle of the garden, and we're going to throw fucking bombs. That's all there is to it. It's gonna be a fucking hell of a show. And I think we have, I think even before the fight even happens, I think, we're already challenging for fight of the night. It's gonna be a hell of a show. It's gonna be a firework show. I have nothing but respect for Boston. I know Boston personally. Him and I are buddies. He's a real cool dude. I called him when I got this fight offer. We're on the same page. It's business. We're gonna shake hands before. We're gonna shake hands after, and we're gonna put on a fucking fireworks show in the meantime.
What is he just not going to be ready for on October 18th? No matter how hard he prepares, no matter how hard he trains, will it be the crowd, something specific in your skill set? Like, what will be the biggest intangible at the Garden in Boston that you're going to bring that he's just not going to be ready for?
Well, there are a couple of stylistic things that I think that he does that really complement my style, and I'm sure that he would say the same for his style. But those really aren't going to be leaked at this time. But one thing that he definitely can't prepare for is the noise that's gonna happen. You know, I have, you know, the fucking best support team in the world. You know, I was selling out my, you know, the local shows I was fighting on. Now I'm at the Garden, dude. It's gonna be fucking insane. The amount of shirts that people have purchased off me for this fight is out of this fucking world. The Garden is gonna be booming on October 18th, and I cannot wait. You cannot prepare for that unless he has headphones in and he's fucking playing the screams in his ears when he's training. There really isn't too much you can do.
You had mentioned that you're fighting on the same card with a number of your teammates. It was also recently revealed that Joe Lozon, a mentor of yours, a coach, a training partner of yours, is also going to be on this card, fighting Jonathan Pierce. Yeah, a guy who also earned a contract on the Contender Series, much like your opponent. What is it like knowing that you fought with teammates probably numerous times in your career, but to be on the same card with Joe, is that motivating to you? Is it a little nerve-wracking? What is that like for you?
My fight itself, I don't have any nerves. It doesn't really matter. All like the buzz and all that shit, that's all the sexy stuff. We're going to fight. It's just a fist fight. There's no sporting competition. And in my sporting competition, I'm using fists instead of, baseballs. As far as fighting goes, I never could have ever expected. I walked into his gym as, a 17-year-old kid. Not once did I ever expect to be fighting on the same night as him. I was fortunate enough to be able to watch him fight, live a couple times. Now I get to, share the same cage as him. Granted, not fucking with him, absolutely the fuck not. But, that whole, back room, the whole fight camp thing, now I get to do it with him. Man, it's insane. It's really, there really aren't any words. It's a beautiful thing for, not only myself, not only, Lozon MMA, but also the New England MMA community. Now we got, a young kid coming up, and we got, the guy who's been in there since the fucking Vietnam War. It's pretty cool.
Joe typically corners you, right?
He does, man. It's going to be weird.
Did you guys have a conversation about that before he took the fight?
We definitely, him and I definitely had a conversation about, there was always the what if, that if Joe fought and I fought on the same night, it was like, no, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not. But with it coming to Boston, that's like the small exception that, that was made. For me, I don't really care. I'm not, it's really not the end of the world, I guess, per se, to me. If I was going out there to fight Jacare, yeah, I'd want to have fucking Lozon in my corner. But fighting the style fighter that Boston is, it's really not that detrimental if he weren't in my corner. It would be a great thing if he were in my corner, but it's not the end of the world that he's not. And it's not, set in stone that he's not in my corner yet. We don't know where we are on the card. He could be first fight, I could be 10th fight, or vice versa. It really depends on, who makes out and where the card placement is. If he's first fight of the night and gets out unscathed, and I'm the 8th fight, fuck yeah, he's going to corner me. But if he's fight number 6 and I'm fight number 7, then that's obviously not realistic. So we're planning for the worst, expecting the worst, but we're hoping for the best.
How do you see this all playing out on October 18th between you and Boston Salmon at the Garden, which is all renovated? It looks great, new seats, all sorts of phenomenal in the Garden right now. How does this all go down beneath all those championship banners and retired numbers?
All right, yeah, so we're going to get to the Garden on October 18th. I'm going to play Florida Georgia Line. I'm going to walk out singing and dancing. We're going to put on a hell of a show. Boston and I are going to win $50,000 each. We're going to go straight to North End and spend it on pizza and cannoli. That's it.
What are your thoughts on the main event? Chris Weidman moving up to light heavyweight. He's fighting Dominic Reyes, who's just been on a tear. A win here could get him to John Jones. Hell, a win for Weidman could get him to John Jones because of his name value and being a former champion. How do you see that fight all playing out from an analyst perspective?
Man, honestly, because of my weight, I'm so much smaller and there's never any chance of me ever fighting those guys. I don't really watch that weight class too close. However, everyone knows Chris Weidman. Reyes is on a fucking tear. Weidman has that name. Reyes is very unpredictable. He can punch. There's a lot of exciting things that come out of it. And Chris Weidman definitely has that star power that I think UFC Boston, needs. And, it's definitely going to be a great experience to fight on the same card as him.
True or false? The New England Patriots will win more than 13 games this year.
Dude, what the? Grow up, dude. Of course they're going to. What the fuck? We have AB now, dude.
I know, they're so ridiculous. They're so ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Next question.
Yeah, I was like, how can I throw him off tonight? But to kind of turn it on a whole different perspective, you know, you talked about what October 18th is going to mean to you in terms of being a fighter, in terms of being a guy from Boston. But, you know, you mentioned it. You carry around that photo of your great friend and training partner, Devin Carrier, who unfortunately passed away 2 years ago. Seeing you carry his photo at the weigh-ins in Atlanta and having that moment, Brandon, what he did after the fight was absolutely amazing. It was an incredible moment, one of my favorite stories of the year. Now that you're fighting at the Garden next month, how would he have responded to that? Like, what do you think he's feeling looking down on you right now, knowing that you're about to fight at the Garden?
Man, I have the chills right now just thinking about it. And you know, I carry around his picture with me, and, you know, I talk a lot about it. And, you know, pretty much every single interview that I ever do, I say his name at least one time, right? I bring his name up. And I know that, you know, he's not here with us physically. That hurts everybody. His friends, you know, his family, this, that, the other. I want to use whatever small platform that I have right now to make sure that his name doesn't die as well. He's not here with us physically. We understand that. There's nothing we can do about it. But we can stop the name from disappearing, right? So I'm going to do my part to keep his name around. And, man, he will be absolutely losing his fucking mind if he found out that I was fighting at the Garden. And, man, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to stand in the middle of the Garden with my hand raised, with my boy's picture in my hand, and just we fucking did it. It's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy.
It is absolutely going to be crazy. Randy Costa returns to action in Boston, October 18th, taking on Boston Salmon. I'll be out there covering that event, and I'm really looking forward to it. Randy, before we let you go, man, let the folks know where to find and follow you on the web, social media, any shout-outs, anything else you want to get off your chest. The floor is yours.
Randy Costa 135 on Twitter, Randy_Costa on Instagram. Follow the journey. Buckle up. It's going to be a fucking ride. See you guys on the 18th.
Thank you, Randy. All the best for the rest of this fight camp. We'll see you in Boston.
Thanks, brother. I'll see you.